What's going on, guys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to episode 4 of FIFA School. In today's video we're going to talk about the spine of the football team and why I think it's very important, and then we're going to be talking about what kind of players I suggest for the spine of the team. The way I know, for example, it's mid-March, so I'm going to take this from the perspective that your team's already been made, but you're looking to obviously ever changing and ever improving your team. I'm just going to talk about the core players that I suggest. The best players to have in the best positions, I think, in my opinion, to create the spine of your team. Obviously, everyone plays different, but when I'm referring to the spine of the team, I'm literally talking as in the actual spine, as I say, even in real football. But for me, in FIFA terms, that consists of a good goalkeeper, two good centre backs, a defensive midfielder at least, a good cam, and one good striker. I mean, this is using the 15k team. This is just an example. I think this is the spine of the team. I know, for example, a lot of people that are watching this, you made your team already. But if you're always asking what player should I improve within the team, because I always people sending me 100k teams, they're saying, Neil, what player should I improve? I think concentrate on the spine of the team first, and then worry about a second striker. Is he good? And then your other two midfielders, you can kind of get away with average players. But what I would say is with the fullbacks, do be careful because alternated crosses are ever more prevalent, especially now. So I still think it's important to have left back, right backs that are decent, that are high. But I'm presuming at this time, for example, a lot of players have 1,000,000 coin teams at least. So what I meant by saying is by spine the team, I would say spend a good 800k on the spine of the team, and you can get away with 200k on the rest of these players. You can buy fullbacks now, like you can buy Kyle Walker, in my opinion, one of the best fullbacks in the game as a goal player, for like 40k. So I think, to be honest, concentrate on the spine of your team first, and then worry about the rest of your team. Of course, it depends on formation to formation, but the logic is, it's still there. The 4-2-3-1 is another example, which is a more popular formation. The same thing: have a good striker, a good cam. At least one good defensive midfielder. Ideally, you want two, but at least one good DM. And the rest of the players, again, you can get away with. But of course, take this with a grain of salt. If, for example, you don't score with your striker, and let's say, for example, you abuse alternator crosses, that's the way you want to play, then fair play. Then obviously try to concentrate on your left attacking mid and right attacking mid. So understand, depending on the way you play, just sit down and maybe watch your gameplay back or think, which player do I use the most and which player is the most important? Get those the best players as possible. What I'm trying to say is, I'd rather if I had 1,000,000 coin team, I'd rather spend 800k on I'd rather spend 500k on a good striker, 100k on a good cam, about 100k on good centre backs, 50k on a good goalkeeper, and a defensive midfielder, and then the rest I can kind of work out. I wouldn't mind using, for example, a 5k left back and right back. That's not really a problem. That's what I meant by the spine of the team. Now we're going to talk about what to look for in the spine of the team in terms of what kind of stats. Now, for goalkeeper, post-patch now, mid-July. What am I saying? Mid-March, sorry. If you're watching this now, there might be a patch in March onwards, up to July, I don't know. But as of mid-March, I think it's the 6th patch, so far. You want to concentrate on height. Height is the most important thing for a goalkeeper. The reason why, you can have all your stats at 99, okay? Every single stat 99. But if your goalkeeper's 6 foot, he's not going to save it. Because if a guy shoots it in the top bins, the goalkeeper can't reach. So that's why the height is the most important. That's the first thing I look for a goalkeeper. Secondly, the second thing is positioning. Again, you can have 99 diving and reflexes, but if your goalkeeper's in the wrong position, he's not going to make the save. So that's why I think positioning is very important for me and the most underrated stat. So it goes in that order. Height first, then I worry about positioning. Now, of course, chemistry styles like glove. Glove, of course, adds diving and positioning, the most important ones. But I would 100% go for height first and then positioning. And then the third choice for me is kind of my I suppose you can say peeve, I would say, but I think the most important thing for a goalkeeper has to be, without a doubt, reactions. Now, what am I talking about? We know Petr Cech, SBC card, formidable card. On paper, he looks like one of the best goalkeepers in the game. He's 6'5". Why is he not a good goalkeeper in game? He's got really good stats. What could possibly affect him? And it's to do with the reactions. See how he's got 77 reactions? Now, why goalkeepers like De Gea and Courtois are such good goalkeepers? Because they got better reaction, especially De Gea. I think this is important. This is kind of not proven, but it's kind of the same logic as well. The faster your goalkeeper reacts, the more likely the chance he has to save in a ball, especially against low drivens. I mean, I gave an example of Farman, right? Now, you can't see reactions unless you look on Footbin. See, Farman has 83 reactions. I think for goalkeepers, it's very important to have 80 reactions and above. Now, of course, you can't see in attribute details. You have to either look on Footbin or in-game. So I would say concentrate on that first. As I said, concentrate on the height, positioning, and then the reactions. Then worry about the rest. Then it kind of goes to how you defend. Diving is kind of for shots outside the box when a goalkeeper actually dives towards a corner. Reflexes are becoming ever more important now because people are doing low-driven shots inside the box. And that's why players like De Gea now are becoming kind of the meta now, I would say, because a lot of players are no longer shooting finesses outside the box. They're actually shooting inside the box. That's why players with good reactions like De Gea, who's got good reflexes, are better. But for me, in this order, I would say the best goalkeeper for saving, as in diving, would be Courtois. Courtois is important because he's tall, good against headers, and good all around. And he's the tallest. De Gea is second for me because De Gea's got very good reactions and good reflexes. And 1v1s are a bit more apparent now, more prominent. That's the key way of scoring. And then third for me has to be Neuer. Now, the way I see it is Courtois the best diver. Can't kick a ball to save his life, but the best diver of the ball to save it, especially from corners. De Gea best for 1v1s, and Neuer the best goalkeeper all around. So choose your pick, whichever goalkeeper you want, but that's what I'd recommend. You can use someone like Van der Sar, but not everyone can afford him. So that's why I gave those few suggestions. I think Courtois is becoming probably the most recent one. Of course, as I said as well, a tall goalkeeper is important, especially for crosses. You know, I manually move my goalkeeper when a cross comes in or when a corner comes in. Again, that's why I want the height. So I would say height is the most important. Save technique, it doesn't matter too much. I think for 1v1s, acrobatic is a bit better. There's a better chance of saving a ball. Now, centre-backs. For me, I think, look, these centre-backs, they cost 700. I bought them for 1.3k with a shadow, but they cost 700 coins each, to be honest. For me, the most important thing with a centre-back, for me personally, is decent jumping and decent height. And then pace. I mean, the height is good obviously for the crosses. And obviously, because I play a high line, I think it's important to have good pace because I get countered so much. And you kind of want your defenders to track back, if that makes sense. That's why pace is very important for me for fullbacks. Even with 81 pace, I still put a shadow on him. Then, of course, I think, in my opinion, stand tackling is probably the most prominent, I would say. And I would say stamina is not that important. I would say, for example, jumping, marking, stand tackling. You could argue maybe composure and reactions are probably the most important, along with the general pace. I would say those are the most important for a centre back, in my opinion, and along that, with height as well. If you have a good play with all those, you're good to go for both your centre backs. Now for my CDM, I have Goretzka on my CDM. Again, you want someone that's tall. You kind of want someone that's medium here, medium high, but high should do fine. Again, someone that's tall. And for me, it's the same thing. I think pace is still important for a CDM. Of course, standing and slide tackling. Slide tackling is a bit more better because you find yourself sliding a bit more outside your own half with your CDMs. I would say stamina is important because in comparison to centre-back, who's not moving that much, CDM is kind of like a bit box-to-box. So I would say these are all important. Jumping is important, but because Goretzka is 6'2", it doesn't matter too much. But I would say interceptions are very important, and so is marking. I would say those are probably the most important. You could argue maybe strength, and maybe you could say composure and reactions again. And maybe short pass because they distribute the ball. This is a kind of an extra. If you get this, fair play. If you don't, you don't. But I would say these are the key stats you want to concentrate on, especially interceptions, because the CDM's kind of going to be cutting the passing lanes up, and then short passing, they're going to distribute the ball. The reason why I said stamina is important because, of course, it's going to be moving around a lot more. But that's what I would say for a CDM. Now, for cams, I would say going with the spine again with the cam. You can get pretty decent cams. For me, a good cam has to have good work rates, high tracks back, high. I don't really cross it, so for me it's not that important. But if you cross the ball, it's important for you. I try to get some with a 5-star weak foot so they can distribute on either side of the foot. That way they can't be outmarked, if that makes sense. So if a guy had a 2-star weak foot like Rivaldo, I will know to push Rivaldo on his right foot because his weak foot is only 2-star, if that makes sense. A good skill moves to beat the first man. But the most important thing for me again is pace, shooting, because they're going to get into good shooting chances, attack positioning. Shot power is important. These, I wouldn't say long shots are important. Neither are volleys or penalties. Don't forget, curve does not affect finishing. Don't forget about that. A good short pass because you're going to distribute the ball to players. You can argue with maybe vision, but I wouldn't say so. Technically the entire dribbling, because this guy's going to be the link-up player, if that makes sense. He's going to be the guy who's going to get the ball, pick it up from the CDMs, distribute it with short pass and kind of dribble, and you kind of want someone who's got a good stamina. Ben Yedder, because I put him on conservative interceptions, I sub him off, so for me he's fine. But you kind of, and because this is my cheap team, you can get Ben Yedder at the market for 750 coins. But that's what I would say you want for a good cam. And then followed by at least one good striker. The striker you kind of want all around. Height, if you cross, height's important. I would say a high low or high medium is a must for a striker, or worst case scenario, high if you put him on stay forward. Ideally, you want a 5-star weak foot. That way, if you get an attacking opportunity, you can score on either foot, which for me is the most important. I mean, Promez has got a 4-star, which is fine. Good skill moves, because you kind of want to do the La Croquetas, you want to do dribbling, you want to do drag backs, heel to heel, whatever. And then obviously the most important stats are pace to get in behind. Again, in my opinion, it's going to be shooting. Vision is not that important because they're finishing. Maybe you could argue long shots maybe a bit more important because they might get a chance when they're running in behind from a deep ball. Again, the whole dribbling is again very important, especially composure. Now, Promise is a good player. This is my cheap 15k team, but composure should not be overlooked. It should be one of the most important stats. When it comes to finishing, 1v1s, the most important thing is where your defenders are and your proximity of your player in comparison to the defenders. The finishing of the player. What foot you on. So if you want someone with a 5-star weak foot, so you kind of want someone with a 5-star weak foot, ideally 99 finishing with a chemistry style, and at least 83 composure, I would say, is kind of mine. If you want to improve the composure, you can add a sniper. A sniper gives +5 composure. So if you put a sniper on one of your players, it gets +5 composure. And maybe you could argue they're jumping if you cross the ball, and strength to hold up play. But I would say for me, it's got to be the 3 most important stats are probably got to be the whole of pace, finishing in general, shot power, and composure. And that is basically the video. As I said, that is a Spire team. So when I do choose a 4-1-2-1-2, for example, I kind of want a good striker who can score prolific, a good cam link-up play, a good CDM. By the way, Goretzka should be here, not Zakaria. That's an error. One second, let me just change that up. So yeah, you kind of want a good striker, prolific, a good cam link-up play, a good CDM, 2 very good centre-backs, and at the very least, you're talking... this is a 15k team, but you want a very good goalkeeper. I would say if you had a 1 million coin team, I would say legitimately spend 800k on these, I would say 5 players. The second striker can get away with a cheap one, a couple of k. Promes is a cheap striker. You can get someone like him. And same with your centre mids, you can get away with someone cheap. The only thing I would say is just be aware with your fullbacks. You kind of want someone who's got high work rates that can track back, so they can go back and forth. You kind of want that for both your fullbacks. But height is also very important. For me, I would say do not go below someone who's under 6 foot. I mean, 5'10" should be the absolute lowest you should go. Mendy, I use him because he's got decent jumping, decent physical for the alternator crosses. But you can put a sentinel like on someone like Mbabu and he gets already 89 jumping. But anyway, that's what I'd recommend for the spine of your team. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Just very quickly, I wanted to say as well the 2 meta formations, and it depends what formation you play. As I said, if you played a 4-2-3-1, you know, it's the same method. You know, a good striker. What Premier should be here again? Sorry, so a good striker, a good cam, a good CDM, and 2 good centre backs and a good goalkeeper. Because let's be real, your goalkeeper is probably the most important player to defend against crosses and shots. He's going to be the one saving you. The centre backs are the kind of the guys where they do the most of the defending, if that makes sense. They're always on stay back. They're never pushing forward. They're going to be the ones heading the ball and making sure players don't get through on goal. One DM, which is really good, kind of to control the midfield. Someone like Kante. A good cam, a link-up player, for example, someone you want. So when you do get the ball from one of your CDMs, you can pass the ball straight or give a ball in behind to your striker, is what I would say. But anyway, that's what I would say. To concentrate on the spine of your team first, then worry about the rest. But as I said, depending on how you play, if, for example, as I said, you don't shoot, let's say, for example, you cross the ball with alternated crosses, you might find your left attacking mid and right attacking mid are more important than your striker. So it just depends, but I would say everyone always asks me this: concentrate on your spine, your team first. Try to get, you know, as I said, good pace here, good shooting here, good dribbling, a decent passing and good shooting, I would say here for a cam second striker. CDM again, good pace, good stamina, good stand tackling, good reactions. And centre backs, I would say good pace, good stand tackling, good marking, good jumping. And then for your goalkeeper, as I said in this order, jumping, positioning, then diving, reactions, and reflexes together. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped. So when you are making changes to your team, it might give you some more insight on what I recommend. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again in episode 5 of FIFA SCHOOL. I think the next one will be. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.